This video is about a very well talked about subject, okay? It's on mood disorders. And I learned this in school. I actively attended an institution of higher learning to learn about these subjects. Okay, so this is how I know, and actually had some experience in this because I was suffering from those symptoms. Again, don't be shy, don't be afraid, don't think that there's something wrong with you. If you're feeling kind of off and you're like, I don't know why I feel this way, I shouldn't be feeling that way about stuff like that, right? If you feel that way, you personally don't feel like there's something right and you're not responding the way you should be responding and you don't know what's going on and you know there's something wrong with something that's going on, go see a doctor. Oh my god. Like, why are you don't Google symptoms online. Call your doctor or call a doctor. Go into a walk-in clinic, make an appointment. Just walk in, tell your doctor, he or she will just see you just physically and they'll be able to assess it most often on the spot. If not, if they can't do that, then they'll actively make an appointment where they can actually test for those things. It's better to get a test and go through a checkup than find out about a year later that you literally were suffering from that disorder for a year now or 6 months now or something like that. Right? If you feel like there's something wrong with you and you don't know why you feel that way, you need to go see a doctor. A doctor will be able to tell you and put you on treatment so it doesn't get worse. So, my hair. I didn't blow dry it and it's been bothering me because it looks like I got a blowout or something. But, mood disorders. Okay, so this is I know I saw it online years ago and people never really talked about it the way that they should have talked about it. Wasn't in depth, and I guess people don't know how to summarize it in a way that it doesn't actually infringe on copyright or journalistic integrity, where you're not allowed to talk about case studies or anything like that if that person isn't also authorized to access those files, right? So when I attended school, I had access to certain files from journals, right? I can go on the library computer at the school and search up case studies or files related to my subject or any other subject that was being taught at that institution and read about it, and I can talk about that with other students, right? But I can't actually take that study and hand it out to other people because I'm not authorized to do so. Does that make sense? I'm not authorized to get that reading material, right? Copy it and then hand it out to students. Okay? Some professors do this, okay? I don't want to go there. It's called plagiarism, kind of, if you're passing it off as your own work and you're saying, I figured this out on my own. If you cite every single source, then that's fine. So it's not plagiarism if you're citing the sources saying this guy wrote the book and this is where I got this from and this is what I'm talking about, and you're allowed to access this because we're going to the same institution, right? It's authorized for students to be able to learn on this subject. They're saying they're giving the go ahead for that kind of stuff, right? If you were photocopying that material and then you were handing it out to, if you're a student at an institution and you photocopy that material and then you handed it out to people that didn't even go to that school and you were actually making money from it, that's called stealing. Yeah, that's called plagiarism. That's what you're doing. When you charge people for that kind of information, you're saying this is mine or I have something to do with it and I'm authorized to make money from this. If that's what that is, right, then that's called stealing. Don't steal. Okay? It's not okay for people to steal. And if you want to go and learn about that kind of stuff, you can go to the university directly to the bookstore and purchase the textbooks. They're not going to stop you. Okay? You may not even comprehend the material, but if you can go in there, if you're not even shy or whatever, maybe you can ask your friend to go in there for you. It's not illegal for you to go to a university and purchase a textbook there and read through it. I mean, most likely you're gonna have to get a tutor or get somebody to explain the material to you. That's That's your own call. But if you like to study subjects and for whatever reason you didn't get into the university, you can always purchase those textbooks and try to learn it off on your own. There's a lot of scholarly material on YouTube. You can even learn mathematics on your own. It's not something that's so difficult. It's not a difficult concept to grasp. I know a lot of people might give you shit for it. A lot of people may hate you for it. A lot of people may think it's not okay for you to do that because we didn't say it was okay, and you don't know what's gonna happen if that person has access to the information, blah 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 blah. But if you're the type of person where you think you can, like, it's fine for you to learn it, or you're trying to tutor other students and that person doesn't go to that school, or that person isn't in a higher institution of learning, or that person's going to a different school, whatever, I mean, that's just, like, I think that's classroom politics. Like, you can stay out of it if you want. If you want to stay out of it, just don't get involved, so don't do anything. If they wanted to get tutoring from you, then go by what they're teaching there, so go by their own textbook. If you don't want to do that and you're doing it off of what you've learned, then that means that you're actually teaching people about stuff that you learned, which is fine. Those are your own notes. You can use your own notes. I know other people will try to convince you that you can't. They've been trying to convince me for a very long time now. I can't use my own notes. Yes, you can. You can't use other people's notes, okay? You can't claim that those are their material. You can't claim that that's your material, your own material. And you can't use that as your own, right? You can say this material is where I learned this from. That's fine. That's not plagiarism. Plagiarism is taking credit for somebody else's work. If you're making money off of something and you're not authorized to make money off of it, that's stealing, yet that's plagiarism. If you're saying these concepts are your own, again, that's plagiarism, right? If you're telling people I learned this from somebody else, that's not plagiarism. Okay, if you're repeating word for word what that person has said, again, not plagiarism. But you're not really learning anything if you're just parroting back what people have told you. But anyway, again, like, this is kind of like where I personally don't agree with a lot of the way that they're doing things, which is, I think people should have access to information freely. I don't think that should be something that's, like, so coveted and only, like, for a certain specific group of people, because it gets to be a point where it's like it gets oppressive, and you limiting somebody's intellectual ability, or you limiting somebody's, like, skill set through denying them things that they may actually need, I think is unethical, and I think it's very oppressive. Me personally, I don't like that kind of stuff, and I hate it when people try to do it to me, and I don't do it to other people. That's something that I personally value, is education, and I think people shouldn't be limited in that. I don't think people should be stopped from doing education, or, like, having to go through things just so they can access information that other people have access to based on their birthright, right? Like, your parents, somebody's parents were rich enough to send them to nice schooling and give them tutors. This kid could do the same thing as that kid, except his parents were poor, or her parents were poor. Like, I don't think that's fair. But anyway, that's, like, a whole nother subject. I don't even want to go there. I mean, it'll be great. It's like a utopia if the only reason that person's parents are poor is because that person's poor, and even if you put it there, they can't even learn it anyway. That would be great if it wasn't for the fact that all these social injustices and all this kind of stuff is actively happening, okay? If those things happening means that there are irregularities and, like, gaps between what people are doing and what people are capable of achieving. And I don't think that's helpful for anybody to limit that person from being able to be who they should be and being their best selves, right? I mean, I have my own personal opinions and preferences. Like, I try to not let that cloud my judgment too much. But again, I'm just one person. Everybody has their own preferences and opinions, and they try to work with that, right? But anyway, plagiarism. If you're going off your own notes, not plagiarism, okay? The reason why a lot of people try to take credit for that, or tell you can't do it, it's because they don't want you to submit a journal or go through that whole, like, dissertation process. Well, you will be awarded a PhD for all your hard work and contribution to the academic field. Okay, that's why. That's literally why. Or somebody that they know is actively copying off your work and you don't even know about it, called identity theft. You should contact the police if you find that out. But that's why. Okay, they're trying to work off of your work and try to take credit for it. It's called plagiarism. It's an academic shame. Okay, you should be feeling ashamed if you're doing that. But what else? Mood disorders. Okay, depression is something that people feel when they're not feeling like their life is going well. They tend to talk like this. They're depressed. They're kind of slow talking. They express little to no emotion. They may burst out in tears for no reason all the time. Okay, or they may get angry or upset all the time without reason. No reason for that. They don't want that kind of stuff to be happening to them, but they think it's happening to them because people are against them. Okay, they feel like they're being disrespected. They feel like their privacy is violated. They feel like people don't like them all the time. Everywhere they go, they misinterpret people's facial expressions and the situations, and they don't know that they're misinterpreting it because of the way they're looking at things and thinking about things. This is why they recommend cognitive behavioral therapy, where the therapist's goal is to first get that person to think about what they're thinking. So like, just make sure that say out loud what it is that you're thinking. Okay, so if somebody's depressed and the therapy is just kind of getting started, they'll be asking you a question such as, okay, what happened today that made you feel upset? And then their description would be something along the lines of, my friend just insulted me for no reason and told me that I couldn't even cut it for my job and said that I deserve to be demoted. And then the therapist will ask, okay, so what did you do after? And then that person may respond, I told my friend off and told her that, or him, that it wasn't okay. And that's why I'm here today, because I'm upset because I feel like my friend doesn't want to be my friend anymore just because we had a fight. Right? And then the therapist will go, okay, so can you tell me word for word what actually happened? And they're like, today I was out and I was hanging out with my friend, and my friend made a comment about something, and that made me make a comment back because I felt like that person was trying to tell me that they don't like me. And then I asked a friend about it, and then they lied to me and said that they do like me and they didn't do any of that kind of stuff that I said they did, but they did. I know that they're lying to me, but they're just like that, and I don't know why they do those things. It made me feel upset because they keep doing that, and I keep telling them that's not okay. And then my friend said that I need a time out, or I need a break from hanging out for a little while, and then they dropped me off at home, and then I was upset because I thought that meant that my friend didn't want to be my friend anymore. And then the therapist will say, okay, I need you to be able to know that you are jumping to conclusions and you're doing black and white thinking. You thought that interaction was all bad, and you think that your friend doesn't want to be your friend anymore, specifically because your friend disagreed with you, which is called black and white thinking. Okay, that just because a friend disagrees with you doesn't mean that they're not your friend anymore, or nor does it mean that they don't want to be friends with you. That's not what that means. And then they will try to teach you, okay, when you feel upset about something, maybe refrain from saying something and then just tell them literally word for word, I'm upset about this right now, instead of going on and on about why you're upset. That might actually help in getting your friend to understand that you're upset, so they shouldn't say anything that was upsetting to you to begin with. And then they start going off and off about how blah, 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 they make excuses, whatever. So that if you try to talk to anybody about that kind of stuff, that's what depression looks like. Okay, to them, their perception is clouded by their emotional state because they are in a constant negative mood all the time. Everything's just the worst and everyone's just against them and everyone's always lying to them, which just causes them to be paranoid, and it can get psychotic. Okay, they may actually think that friend is secretly trying to plot to kill them, right? That's called psychosis, and it's no, like, it's called psychotic thinking. And then when they actually do something about that, saying, if you're gonna kill me, I'm gonna kill you first, and then start breaking into your friend's house, that's called psychosis, okay? That is a mental illness that happens with depression. Antidepressants are supposed to prevent that from happening. They won't stop your negative mood, and they can't stop you from thinking that way or feeling that way in that situation, but they'll stop you from thinking that specific thing and behaving in that specific way, right? That's the point of you taking antidepressants. Okay, why do people have mood disorders? The actual cause is quite unclear. It can be hereditary. Very rarely it is ever. Most of it is environmental, actually, and typically people who suffer from depression and anxiety disorders, mood disorders in particular, are from people who are from a poverty-ridden background. People who are poor, okay? People who don't have a lot of finances or from unstable financial households, they typically suffer from these types of mood disorders. And it has something to do with their level of education, because a lot of the times, like I said, the black and white thinking, and then the jumping to conclusion, the mind reading, right? They think they can read the friend's mind, everything that they're thinking all the time, and they know exactly what the friend's thinking all the time. When you can't ever, like, you don't, unless that person's telling you or is like letting you know in that way, or that kind of thing is what that means, which means you have like really high social skills, which will prevent you from actually developing most of these disorders. You won't be able to read your friend's mind. That's not. Yeah, but again, with mood disorders, it's very, very common. This is how they think, okay? This is why it's called a mental illness. Do they know that they're thinking that way? Absolutely not. Do they know that it's not normal? Absolutely not. Do they know that there's something wrong? The only reason they know something wrong is because they're not feeling good all the time. Like, they feel constantly negative every single day, and they don't remember the last time they felt happy. Okay, that's a mood disorder, okay? It could be GAD, it could be depression, you never know. You should go check it out with an actual doctor. Okay, don't go to your neighbor, don't go to your friend, don't try to search it online. You're not even gonna know what that is. Okay, just go see a doctor for that. They'll give you some medication, and then you should be able to see a therapist afterwards. Most of the time, they actually just end it at the psychiatrist, because all you really need is a medication and some treatment and some therapy, and your doctor will know how your progress is going. Okay, if you need that extra help because nothing's really like helping you, like, you know, like, feel better, you don't have any idea why things aren't going well for you, right? Then you should see a therapist. That's their job. Psychologist's job is to assess how your behavior is going and how your behavior responds to everyone else in a very scientific paradigm. So there are actual studies done, okay, and there's statistics involved. So you need to be able to tell your psychologist, be like, hey, this is how I feel and this is how I'm responding. Is this normal? And they'll be able to assess it based on just what you're telling them. Okay, they can't read your mind. They don't really know your history or your family or your relationships or where you've been through unless you actually tell them. If you tell them that, then yeah, they'll have an easier time assessing you. If there's a significant problem, or if they don't feel like your progress is going well with the medication, then they might actually suggest you do something different. As in, I don't think your therapy is currently working for you. Why don't we try something else? Or can you tell your doctor next time that the medication isn't working for you, because you're telling me that whatever they're prescribing for you isn't actually helping you with any of those symptoms that you're experiencing. So you need to be able to tell the doctor that, because a lot of times you forget to tell the doctor that it's not actually helping. So they'll have to find just a bunch of different antidepressants out there. Some of them may work for you, some of them may not. You have to be able to tell your doctor this. Just be like, this isn't actually working for me. It's not really doing much, and I still feel negative all the time. And then they're like, okay, well, why don't we stop the medication for now and see how things go then? And if your symptoms act up again, then you can go back to your doctor, and then they'll be able to find you new different class of drugs, or give you a different brand of drugs. Maybe that will work a little better for you than the brand that you were on before. Who knows? Anyway, mood disorders, it's something that a lot of people don't take seriously because it's not serious. Okay, a lot of people, this is why their whole stigma comes from. A lot of times people, they think it's childish, right? They're like, you're upset about something and you're doing that. Yeah, I was like that when I was a kid. Like, I learned how to like deal with it and move on from that. Like, it's not that bad, dude. But to you, it's like the end of the world, right? It's like, oh, like, can you believe that guy just called me a whore? My life is over now. And then you start like, I don't know, like calling everyone at 3 a.m., telling everyone how much you hate them. Yeah, that's a mood disorder. They didn't do anything. They didn't do any of that to you. So why are you doing that? And why are you upset about that one guy saying that weird stuff to you? Unless it's happening all the time, in which case I think you might need to see a doctor or get the police involved. Either way, something you need to do, okay? A lot of things that with mood disorders is that it prevents the person from being able to understand that they have something to do with why people are responding that way. Right? Like if me, like, I've been around a lot of people with significant and severe mood disorders, and they don't understand that they're causing that kind of behavior. Okay, with people who have no experience or any kind of education in this, they know that there's something wrong with this person, but they don't know what it is, and they just stay away. Or they're like, I don't really understand what you're going through, but do you want to do this instead? Like, I don't even know why you're upset about this. That's what they'll say to you, right? Because it's not a big deal for them, right? And it's not really. Yeah, so like, if you've ever been around people who are like severely depressed or have like serious anxiety, it's like always having to make sure that that person's not gonna, like, I don't know, like, say something stupid. To me, that's what that feels like. I'm like, why are they saying that kind of shit right now? It's fucking embarrassing. Yeah, it's just cause even as like adults, like, they're like, yeah, even if you feel that way, like, you're responding that way is not normal, which is why it's an illness, right? Like, I guess a lot of people don't take it seriously because they're like, yeah, illnesses are serious, okay? Even if you have a cold, you shouldn't be going outside and walking around. You should stay home, you know, just take it easy for a bit, drink some fluids, and just make sure that you don't have a cold anymore. Like, what are you doing going outside and going to work or going to school? You have a cold. That kind of stuff. It's not that serious. It's like having a cold. But you gotta kind of do something about that. Like, it goes away on its own for most people if they go through treatment or realize what they're doing is ridiculous. Whatever works for you. That's the beauty of therapy. Oh, just make sure you find a therapist willing to work with you, okay? Just, you're paying that person to do work for you, not the other way around, and you're not paying them to just make sure that you feel good at the end of the day, right? Because some people are actively just, that would be therapeutic enough for them to be going off their medication and trying to find a different way to go about things, and that's really all that takes. But if that's really all you're looking for, like somebody to kind of sympathize with you, they can do that. It's not going to progress your treatment, but if the medications are all really is doing all that work for you, and you feel like you're doing better now, and you're actually going forward and taking initiative about your own treatment, going out and meeting new people and doing new things, and yeah, that's great. Just good for you. Just you do that thing that you're doing. But keep in mind, not everybody's very accepting of illnesses, okay? Like, if anybody has any, I work with a coworker, and he was very upset about like another coworker showing up to work with a cold. And I hate that shit too. Honestly, I'm like, if you have a cold, can you stay home, please? Like, just call in sick. It's not a big deal. Your employer's not gonna fire you because you have a cold. And if they do, you should contact like some labor board or something, because that's illegal. Yeah, they can't fire you because you have a cold. It's weird. It's fucking weird, man. But yeah, what else with mood disorders? Yeah, they can't really think clearly. They don't really know what's going on, what they're doing. But they think they do. It feels like that's what they're doing. To them, that's what they're doing, and that's not what that is. Okay, unfortunately, you, as a person, need to be able to understand this. If you're not feeling well, and it's been going on for a while, and it has really nothing to do with any kind of the social stuff that people go through, like social injustices and all that kind of, which they're real, and criminal activity is real, okay? That will affect you, okay? If those two things aren't involved in your life, and you're always chronically unwell, right? Like you have nothing, there's nothing wrong with you, and you're always upset about something, right? And it's like, why are you always upset about something? What's your problem, right? You should be able to see a doctor and be like, oh, if they also tell you there's nothing wrong with you, then you just kind of, you feel off or something. I don't know, maybe just something weird's going on in your environment, you know? Maybe there's something that you're not noticing that you should be noticing. That's my face. Sorry, it was a little fake, but yeah, they're annoying, honestly. Like, there's always, everything's always like, oh, it's called dramatizing, or like everything is such a big deal and everything's the end of the world. Okay, I'm gonna die because of this specific thing. Oh my god, everything is just the worst and nothing's ever gonna get better and everyone just hates me. People just are against me all the time. It has nothing to do with what I did or what I said. Yeah, that's mood disorder. Again, like, with that, like, you want to kind of approach it in a way that they're willing to accept that's what they did. So it's kind of like, okay, somebody with a mood disorder, right? They won't, like, let's say you with your friend, that your friend has a mood disorder, and your friend, we were out getting coffee and you were drinking coffee, and all of a sudden your friend's like, why are you like so unpleasant today? Like, wow, you just smell so bad, and you just took a shower and you just dressed up and went to meet your friend. You're like, the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you saying that? That's a mood disorder. Like, your friend has a mood disorder, unfortunately. Most people will be like, the fuck is that? Right? And your friend will be like, no, that's what that is. And what else was I gonna say? To them, when you're like, what the fuck? Why'd you say that, dude? Why would you? Why? I'm just. Do you need some space? Like, do you need to go home right now? Like, is somebody bothering you or something? That right there, your response to that, which is normal to them, which is their perception is, this is what they think they're saying, right? They think they're like, oh, I'm upset, like, it's just, I don't feel so good, but they said that, it's insulting, right? And your response is like, what's your problem? And to them, when they interpret that, they're like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, like, you're kind of a waste of time and you're not worth anything, like, you're a fucked up person and you literally ruined my life. That's not what you said, that's not what's going on, everything's fine. But to your friend with the mood disorder, that's what that is for your friend, okay? Friend with a mood disorder, it's like having a monkey on your back all the time. They're like, oh, it's like, no, that's not what happened. That's not what I said. That's not what's going on. What is going on? You're upsetting me. And they're like, I lost a friend. Oh my god. That's a mood disorder. It's annoying, right? You don't know what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with you. What the fuck happened to you, right? It kind of creeps up on some people. Honestly, it could be triggered by something else. It's not always like so clear cut as to why they have a mood disorder. But that's what that is. Don't be so surprised. This is kind of why most people don't take it seriously. They're like, what the fuck's wrong with that guy? Is something wrong with that guy? Is he retarded or something? That's their response most of the time, and it's not really helpful, is it? Absolutely not. It's not helpful at all. It's not. It is not helpful to say that to somebody who doesn't even know what's going on. But keep in mind, your friend doesn't know that they actually said that. Because of the mood disorders, their perception is warped. And the way they think about things is not normal because they have an illness, right? Like, their brain triggering neuronal signals aren't working properly. Okay? So their perception, right? Your brain's supposed to be triggered, like, there's the area of your brain supposed to fire some neurons at one point to be able to receive signals, right? So, like, there's two outputs in your brain, so one for input and one for output in response to it. So either the input's not working or the output's not working, okay? Or it's getting mixed up. So input's this way, output's this way, but it's input this way and output that way. Like, that's not supposed to go that way, but it's supposed to go this way. That didn't happen. It went that way instead. And now the responses is abnormal, right? So it's like that. It doesn't help to coop them up. It doesn't help to, like, force them to get out of their comfort zone. That's not what's gonna help them. What's actually gonna help them is you sitting down with your friend and telling them, go see a psychologist, okay? Don't enable their behavior. It's gonna get them to be worse. Unless that person's not really your friend and you just want to see them ruin their life, then I guess. I don't know why you want to do that. You're probably psycho or something. But if that's how you're responding, then that's what that means. But most people aren't like that, so that was a little joke, but not really. Yeah, so if that person's going through that, I would suggest please be patient. You will notice something off immediately if your friend is depressed. They just hate everything they used to love. Like, do you want your weekend wine tasting tour is now your weekend, your friend getting hammered at the strip club, right? Your book club every month is now turned into your friend creating fake online profiles to talk trash about their family members, and them talking about that every month at the book club. Like, that's the mood disorder talking, okay? It's not really your friend, but it is your friend. Let's not separate those two. Those are the same person. They should be taken, like, they should be held accountable for their behavior. That's not okay. But again, they're not responding normally because they're depressed or they have anxiety. They're not perceiving things, or they're not responding to things correctly. So that's what's going on with your friend. It's a medical condition. If it wasn't a medical condition, they wouldn't be able to treat that person for it. And because it's a medical condition, there's statistics involved. There's science. There are people with professions and jobs and careers who are involved in those things. So don't think it's not serious. But it's not that, I don't know. Anyway, I personally stay away from it because I'm like, okay, I do my best that I can as to avoid people from being able to recognize that they have depression. Because when they have that recognition of the mood disorder without a doctor telling them, or even when a doctor tells them, they go through this whole, I'm never gonna be normal, everyone's just gonna hate me. It's normal. That's like the response with everything, including their diagnosis. So to them, it's like, it's the end of the world, I'm broken forever, I can never improve my life, just not even any point. Which, they were kind of like that before, nothing really changed, but to them now, it's like a new thing, right? It's like, you're like, why are you being such a drama queen? Just stop it. Stop doing that right now. Which is what the CBT is for. It's like, you need to stop when you need to stop. Okay, do you understand? Your brain is not functioning normally, and I don't know why. Maybe because you just, I don't know, I don't fucking know, I'm not a scientist, but you need to be able to recognize that and go forth and do things. Stop bothering me about your stupid problems, which aren't even real. They're like, make stuff up to like justify why they feel that way, which is weird, right? I mean, again, the thing is, with mental illnesses, like, I guess it's not so obvious. Some mental illnesses are obvious, such as addiction, right? Like, you can see them like ruin their life through their finances or their biological health. Like, they're very decrepit, or like they're just very poor shape physically, or like they're not doing well. And the point is, okay, that you need to be able to recognize when a person's mentally ill so that you can actually direct them to people whose job it is to help them. AKA, people get paid to do their job, they like doing their job, otherwise they'd be out of a job. Or at the very end of the day, they care about their job, otherwise they'd be out of a job very quickly. Okay, you're not unless you're a qualified professional, I'd say don't even bother. Don't even bother. No. You need to be able to be like, I don't know enough about this subject or this thing, just please go see a doctor. That kind of stuff. Again, please understand, they don't know that they're doing that, okay? So, like, them saying I'm upset and I don't, like, I think I might have depression can come off as, I hate you and you're a piece of shit and you owe me so much money and you never even help out. You're never there for me. Like, I just, honestly, like, everything's going so awful right now and you just never ever say anything right and you always want to ruin my life and I know you've been talking shit about me behind my back and that comes literally out of the blue and nothing's going on, right? You never did any of those things, but now your friend's accusing you of doing that, right? That's called depression or anxiety. I don't really know what that is. I mean, it could be either. But it's a mood disorder. That's all you gotta know. And when you see your friend going through that, just be like, hey, so you wanna go see a doctor with me? Like, think of it as a tune-up for your car or something. Oh, also bipolar disorder, actually very serious, can be terminal. Like schizophrenia, has psychosis in it. It's a mood disorder and they go from periods of highs and lows. They're feeling very, very good, euphoric even, and then they're feeling very, very bad, very negative. Everything's just very grim. And there is a correlation between those moods, which is, this is a difference, okay? People who have bipolar disorder, when they're going through their manic phase, right, they're feeling euphoric, they actively believe that they're billionaires or that they have actively $1 million to waste. They think that they own many property when they don't. They're still renting or they're living at their parents' house, or that they think that they're the president of the world, or they think that they have, like, I don't know, they're police officers and an astronaut at the same time. They believe that, okay? That's what they think of themselves when they're in their manic phase. And a lot of times they get into tremendous amounts of debt. Like, I'm talking about, like, they run up their credit card bill and their credit score all of a sudden falls to, like, something that people with chronic poverty and ran out their credit and went to, like, prison 5 times already would have, right? That's their credit score. And when they start realizing that that's not true and that's what they were doing, they get very depressed, like incredibly depressed, to the point where they won't even leave the house. They don't shower, they don't brush their teeth, they don't do anything even though they can. They go psychotic at one point and they like think that like people are trying to kill them or whatever. They start believing in this weird stuff. I mean, that's the bipolar, and they feel like that, boom, and then they feel like that again, boom. It goes like that every single time. That's bipolar disorder. The thing is, with that, you need to be able to take them to a psychiatrist. I don't think many people with bipolar disorder can recognize that that's what they have. Okay, they have an illness, it's called bipolar disorder. How do you know your friend has bipolar disorder? When all of a sudden your friend calls you up and say, hey, like, or you see your friend, you're like, how are you able to afford an entire Gucci outfit and a Louis Vuitton wardrobe? Like, what happened to all your money? And they're like, don't worry, like, it's gonna get taken care of, like, everything's gonna be fine, like, don't worry, like, I got it, like, seriously, I got it. That right there is bipolar. You need to take your friend to the hospital or to a psychiatrist ASAP. They'll be put on some sort of medication, most likely. They'll have to go through repeated therapeutic things, probably CBT, I think. I'm not really sure. But yeah, you see them cut their family out, you see them run through their life savings, they're gambling all the time, even though they don't even do that before. I'm like, what are you doing? Right? If that was my friend, or you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Right? That's bipolar disorder. Why is it serious? Because they don't know that's what they're doing, and the minute that they start realizing that's what they're doing, they get very depressed. Right? And then, like, again with depression, like, there's like the inability to recognize that they're causing other people to respond to them negatively. With almost mood disorders, like, you're saying something, as in you're insulting people without knowing that, and you know that's an insult, but you can't recognize it, and then people are giving you feedback saying either they're gonna ignore you or they're gonna insult you right back. And when they do that, you're gonna think that that person's like gonna kill you or something, right? Like, that's what that would be like. And is it treatable? Yes, of course. All of these disorders are treatable, otherwise they wouldn't be considered a medical condition. I don't know if people actually take their treatment seriously. A lot of the times their friends and family have to urge them. They're like, please stick to treatment, we care about you. Ah! Or at the very least, they have people who care about that because they're paid to, okay? Just don't take that for granted. So that's what that is. Holy Jesus. Please, like, it gets to be really upsetting for everyone around you when, if you can recognize it on your own, that's great. You are already on a path to treatment. You're gonna be cured very soon. If you can recognize that's what you're suffering from, okay? Just realize that it's no longer considered such a terminal condition, and it's not really all that bad, honestly. Like, it's manageable, it is treatable, you don't have to feel like your life is over. It's not literally cancer. You're not going through 4th stage cancer, you're not actually diagnosed with HIV AIDS, okay? That's not what you have, okay? That's just, it seems like that, it feels like that, and maybe people are treating you like a pariah because you're doing something wrong that you didn't even know you were doing wrong. But that's what bipolar disorder is. Okay, a lot of the times people end up losing friends and having very strained relationships with their family members, and they end up with no money, broke, destitute. They actually end up, like, I don't know, some people actually just don't understand that's what they're going through, and not a lot of people support them socially or otherwise, and it's harder for them to be able to understand the treatment is effective, right? They can't see that if they didn't go through that treatment, they'd be a lot worse off, or without the medication, they are a lot worse off, even though they may personally feel like they're still the same. Okay, but if you can recognize that within yourself, then that's great. Please go through with therapy and you don't have to go through support groups if you don't want to, if it's not helping you, but you need to go see your psychiatrist, you need to go through therapy, and you need to be able to tell yourself that you can get better and things will work out for you if you can just recognize that it's you that's doing that, not anyone else, just you. You doing that little thing. People have feelings too, not just you. Sorry, I think they're childish. I'm like, how are you, a grown person, still behaving that way? Absolutely ridiculous. That's how most people will dismiss you. I mean, some people are like that and they're not mentally ill. That's the thing. So, no one's gonna baby you. You're not an infant anymore. I mean, come on. Like, what, you're 35 and you still expect people to come and play with you in the neighborhood, even though you never got out there and introduced yourself or took the step forward necessary to say, hello, my name is this and I just got to the neighborhood, or hi, I'm trying to make new friends here, hi. You never did any of that, as lame as it may sound, right? But you're expecting people to baby you, come to you, and then, like, I don't know, you're gonna sit on your ass and all of a sudden your career's fulfilling and you saved up all that money and you're so fit and all that kind of stuff. Like, you have a million friends even though you sat on your ass all day and you did nothing but watch TV and eat junk food and make negative comments about everyone else around you. That's not gonna get you where you're going, where you need to go, or where you want to go, okay? You need to be able to recognize it. That's what CBT is trying to do. Behavioral therapy is like, please recognize you are trying to do this, but you're actually doing this. You're gonna do this now, and the reason you're doing that is because you think that is that thing, even though it's not. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's about to rain, and oh my god, I just realized